Dear human, dear soul, I welcome you to my podcast series, Conversations with the Universe. Since a near-death experience, I have the gift to communicate with subtle levels of the cosmos. The knowledge from these for us invisible forms of energy I capture in my books, and it is now a great pleasure for me to share this knowledge, these conversations, with you as a supplement to the books. Please excuse me if the terms and articulations are not perfect. Our mother tongue is German, but we try to translate it to the best of our abilities. Thank you. Dear King Solomon, today I would like to talk to you about the male and female principles. To begin with, I would like to know your take on the principle of manhood and the principle of womanhood. Please begin.
Sylvia, you are starting this incorrectly. It is not the principles that are important, but their repercussions.
Well then, please just begin to talk any way you like.
When the energy of masculinity flows into a human being, his perceptions and tools are directed predominantly at giving impulses. With this energy, the soul in this body has more impact power than if it were without the male energy. Thus, men are usually somewhat less relaxed, because setting impulses is not an act of relaxation. They will fight throughout their lives for the strength of the powerful in order to experience the freedom to implement their impulses in the human world. The feminine energy, in turn, is the receiver of these impulses, and therefore less intent to set impulses than to receive them. Therefore, very feminine women are usually in an attentive, quiet attitude. But the more masculine energy flows into the body of a woman, the more impulses she will want to give. Therefore, I distinguish between the energy and not the bodies. Female energy can also flow into male. Both is possible. But to answer your question further, the impulse-giving energy of the male wants to conquer, if possible also destroy, quicken or kill. It is always in motion. The female energy is the receptive, expectant and life-giving principle, to answer your question. Therefore, be aware that you are much more than just the sex of your body. You are, all of you, also the energy of your given body, the soul and the principle of perception. If you live in a male body, you can act through the very feminine energy inside you just like a woman could, and vice versa. If you live in a female body and experience many masculine and strong impulses of giving, you can also act out your male energy. You have to make fine distinctions here between the body and its sex, the energy of the soul, and the energy that lives through the body, either masculine or feminine.
How do you see the male and the female? How did you look upon it during your lifetime?
Due to the segregation of the sexes in my time as king, I have only ever experienced the feminine principle as very loving and wonderful. But I know from my servants that this energy also has its drawbacks. That which I perceive of the state of humankind in your time is rather chaotic. The feminine energy dwells strongly in the male bodies and vice versa. The people seem confused because through this barrage of disparate energy, no structure is possible. When either pole of the sexes no longer represents clear energies, how should the poles then be structured and clear? This overlap from the masculine into the feminine to such a strong degree results in such a degree of detuning that it is no longer possible to keep the respective sex in a balanced state. Through the quantity of women who cannot embody their femininity and the men who cannot embody their masculinity or just misuse it, all of mankind has become a muddy slurry, in which it has become impossible for individuals to take a clear stance. Everything is topsy-turvy. Everything has become entangled.
I cannot imagine this to be very pleasant. And I believe that the people must be quite desperate in this state of being. What would you advise that they do? How should men and women live together in the proper way in our times?
Through the energy that animates them and the bodies that they were given, they should live their respective sex as if they were to inhabit to 1,000%. Hence, as a woman, you should embody 1,000% of your womanhood, and as a man, 1,000% of your manhood. And then, these two energies in turn would experience their encounters far more intensely when they enter into resonance with each other.
There are people, and I can take myself as an example, that are in the female body, for instance, but experience many masculine impulses of giving and doing and making, and we enjoy it. What would you advise them?
The same. You are a woman. Be this. And if you wish to set impulses, then do so. But in the meantime, live as a woman, and do not forget this side of yourself.
I understand. And vice versa, of course. There are also many men setting very female impulses.
Yes, this goes for them also. The male should live the masculine. The man should embody the masculine. The woman should embody the feminine.
Okay, but if now, for example, a man would rather have a body of a woman, how would you advise him?
If these people feel it like that, then the respective other energy has already influenced the physical so strongly that they feel like this. In truth, I would like to advise these people first of all to embrace their manhood before they actually implement such impulses in their life. But it all depends on the many external circumstances that shape the people, and many of them have been brought into this situation far back in childhood, in which a boy, for instance, cannot properly embody his masculinity, so that the feminine energy in him starts to unfold unchecked. Then time will bring a transformation of his physical perception and sensation. I cannot say very much more about this, except what I have already said. I'm of the opinion that the people, before they make life-changing decisions, should first live their own, given sex to the fullest, and then make the decision.
How about when homosexuality and things like that only manifests itself at a more advanced age, for example? It is a scientifically proven phenomenon that in some men the feminine energy will become more dominant during the course of their lifetime. But how does that happen?
That is exactly as I have already described. These people also have promoted their feminine energy more than the masculine. And therefore the change in their perception has reprogrammed their feelings. This is exclusively a process of time.
The process of time or an effort of time?
Thank you, Sylvia. You have corrected me correctly. It is just a matter of time. The opposite sex will take hold in the body more and more strongly in time.
I understand. And when men and women are together, for instance, for use the classic example, and everybody embodies their respective sex, The woman embodies her love of being a woman in her own way. The man lives his masculinity in his own way. Is there anything that you would like to tell them?
Yes. To see life as a gift and to enjoy that you have each other. The sexual orientation of the other will carry with it many beautiful and inspiring impulses. You should receive them, accept them, and experience them joyfully as much as you can.
Apropos joy. You often hear that married couples only ever shout at each anymore, only argue anymore, and so forth. What would you advise those people when this happens, when they have overstepped the boundaries so far that they cannot treat others with respect anymore?
A very important question, Sylvia. Because the underlying problem is not only found in their marriage, it is a matter of respect. When a person loses respect for another person, for whatever reason, they can bridge this gap in a very few steps. If you seek the dialogue, you will find the answers. Either you will regain respect for each other, or you will completely lose it. And then you should take steps to go your separate ways from now on. The issue of responsibility, especially in matrimony, is another story that deserves separate attention. But with regard to respectful treatment of each other, I will say to you, do enter into the process of confronting this issue, name it and react to it. If you do not believe that this is not a very important issue, you are very much mistaken. Respect is the basis of cohabitation, whether at work or in the family. If you have lost your respect, you will also lose your love. And where there is no more love, you should seek the love.
But you do not mean with the same partner as before, don't you?
Through conversation or through separation. There's nothing in between.
Okay. Do you wish to add anything else to this?
No,
Thank you. Love.
thank you.